This is one that's kind of a cool, this was an anthology type one that I found that I had never seen that had a similar kind of old 80s style cover. But this is off of that what they call Synergy Entertainment, Synergy Archives, which are like the burn-on-demand DVDs on Amazon that, you know, like it's kind of odd, they're on DVD-R. This may not be any good. Honestly, this might be a really good movie and then really bad quality. I've seen some really bad things about this Dead Time Stories. The other one, there's another one on there. I think this one's got maybe an alternate title too, but I can't think of it on the top of my head. But they were saying that that one was bad quality, and then this is the DVD-R, so I don't have high hopes for this, but I do really want to see it. I like those old anthology horrors, like especially from the 80s. You know, like those ones are kind of corny and just a whole bunch of different ones, and like Creepshow and, you know, Tales from the Crypt, that kind of stuff. You know, I always liked anthology TV series and movies. But yeah, I'm eager to check that out. This one here, speaking of 80s horrors, this, like as far as scary movies go, I don't know if I would think this is very scary, but it was always said in the horror section of, you know, the video store when I was a kid. But I had this on VHS when I was a kid. I had it recorded off of HBO, and I was just ecstatic when I finally got that VHS tape, because I had a relative that had to tape it for me, and we didn't have cable. I watched this, and back when I was a kid, I used to think this is one of the coolest movies, and I haven't actually seen this in a long time, so I'm very, very eager to see this. I probably don't even remember all the parts until I actually watch them, and then I'll, you know, be amazed at how much I remember this movie almost word for word, because it's been probably close to like 15 years since I've seen this. But I'm actually pretty excited to sit down and finally watch The Gate again. This one here is one that was just so highly recommended, I just decided to get it. I don't really know that much about it, other than I've heard that it's one of the better ones from the Ghost House Underground. A lot of people had good things to say about it in their reviews. It's called The Children. Haven't seen it yet. Don't really know what to say about it, other than I was kind of excited by the reviews, and I hope it's good. You know, I just find a lot of these movies like this, they're okay, and then I don't really get very many of them that just catch my attention and just become very memorable for me. So I've got high hopes for this. I'll keep my fingers crossed, you know, and hopefully this will be good. The next one I've got here is, I don't know if you could really say it's like a horror movie, but it's definitely like a psychological suspense kind of movie. It's got some good scenes in it. This is Mr. Brooks. Obviously, I've seen this. This is nothing new. I've just never owned it, and I thought it was fairly good. I like some of the parts. You know, like this is one of those movies that if it was cheap enough, I knew I would like to have it. I don't know if you can see this. It's gotten a lenticular cover now, which is odd because so many of these movies, when they come out and they're really expensive, they're very plain. And then as they get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, they're just slapping these big deluxe, you know, case type things to catch your attention now. And Mr. Brooks apparently is one of them that they're trying to get everybody to buy, even though this was like $6 or something at Amazon, brand new. But I always thought Kevin Costner was really good in this. The movies he's known for are usually the movies that I don't necessarily appeal to me, or they're the ones that I don't really think about watching of his. But it's movies like this that make me, you know, appreciate somebody like Kevin Costner. And I thought William Hurtman's excellent. I mean, he's always been good, but he was just such a neat, dark character in this movie, and to have somebody as big as William Hurt kind of play just a supporting character, you know, is awesome. I don't know. I don't think a lot of people like this movie very much, and some of them that do just kind of, you know, think of it as just another movie. But I always thought it was pretty cool, and it's not a bad movie for, you know, somebody that's into these style of movies. But you might want to pick that up if you see it that cheap. The next one I'm going to show is the King Kong Fistful of Quarters. This is a documentary, and I've seen it several times, but I finally decided to buy it. If you're into like arcade games and style games. This is about a guy that on his journey to try to beat the top record for Donkey Kong that had been set like in 1982, and this is like 2006 or something like that, 2005. It's just a very neat human story. I mean, even if you're not really into arcade games and like the vintage style games from the 80s, there's still a lot to see in this, and it's very interesting. It's almost like a struggle between you've got like a good character and a bad character. And I'm not going to say names and really just go out and point fingers and say, that they're trying to make this guy a villain. But if you watch this, I think you're going to see it as plain as I did. And I think the guy that did this is brilliant. I think a director like this could almost make anything into a story if they watched it, and decided to put a spin on it the way they wanted to. So, but this is very, very interesting. If you get a chance, this is definitely one of the documentaries I recommend very highly. The next movie I got, I've never seen this, and I have no idea why. The Young Sherlock Holmes. Somebody mentioned it recently, and I was like, oh yeah, is that okay or whatever? And they're like, you never watched this? No, sorry. But I remember the special effects in this were featured in a book that I had for Industrial Light and Magic a long time ago when I was younger, and like in junior high or something like that, high school. And it's got some really like bad CGI. I know it does have that because I have seen that portion of it in documentaries and in books and stuff. But it's a Steven Spielberg's Presents movie, and I think it was written by Chris Columbus. Yeah, and I mean, really, that's probably enough right there to gather quite a bit of attention, but for whatever reason this one just like slipped through. I remember it coming out and everything and just never watched it, so I thought it was probably time that I gave it a shot. I picked it up. The next one I'm going to show, I've owned this before, and I actually ended up letting my other copy go, and I decided to pick this one up just because it was cheaper, and I bought it used. It's actually not used, it's new, but I bought it from like an Amazon Marketplace seller, where you can get things a little cheaper. It's supposed to be new. It's sealed in plastic still. But this is the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but it's the big box set. I don't know how many discs are in this thing. It's immense. It's very heavy. I mean, you would think that there would be like 25 discs in here or something. This is heavier than most TV box set. This is like along the lines of like, even heavier than the HBO box sets that are so heavy. This has, it looks like maybe only 3 discs, but it must have just a ton of extra stuff in there, like books and everything. But I always thought this was a really cool movie, and when I was a kid, I didn't really absorb everything in it, but I liked it. And then as I got older, I found a little bit more and more and more that I liked about it until finally, when I was in my later 20s, early 30s, it was amazing, to go back and see this again. It's kind of like E.T. and some of those other movies. You can see a different side of it when you're an adult. And I always thought this was a really, really cool movie. This is definitely a classic Steven Spielberg. If you're into Steven Spielberg and you've never seen this, you definitely have to give this a chance. If you're into UFO type stuff and aliens and everything related to that from a serious standpoint, not like, just space adventure movies, but the like the encounters between stuff like that. This is probably not the best special effects, but they've definitely cleaned this up. I have seen many articles where people were talking about how good the transfer is on this, and I'm sure it is. Steven Spielberg is the kind of person that he goes ever detailed, just methodically. So I would assume this 30th anniversary Ultimate Edition is probably a really, really good set for the age of this movie, because I think this movie came out in 70 something, early 80s, late 70s, 77, I think, 77, 78, somewhere in there. I was very, very young when this came out, and I didn't really get a chance to see it until I was about 3 or 4. But this is definitely one of those movies that if you grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, this is definitely for you.